Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this edition of 3SPN with BL. And today we are on the air to talk about the conference finals, the Cavs, the Warriors. So let's get right to it. Let's go East first. So first two games, not really much of a contest. LeBron was dominant, scored 30 plus in each game as he has in every game throughout the postseason. I think all but one. I think he might have scored in 29. Either way, he was just dominant, and the Celtics had no chance. So, look, they're in Boston. They're the 1 seed. Now, this is not the type of deal where, we're the 1 seed. We have 60, 65 wins. We're by far the best team in the conference. No. The Cavs at the end of the year kind of thought, you know what? We're clearly the best team in the East. We have the most talent. We have the best player in the Eastern Conference, no doubt. I don't even know if there's been a discussion about that for 10, 12 years, and you can't make one. And looking at that, the Celtics overtake them, which really was not that big of a deal. So here's what I would say if you were the Celtics. You had home court advantage in the first round against the Bulls. You lost that. You lost those two games. Now it's completely understandable considering Isaiah Thomas's family situation. But then you have to rally back to beat the Bulls. Okay, it was clearly better than the Bulls. Then against Washington, now they won every single home game, but they lost every single road game. And when that happened, we started to look at, okay, I think home court advantage is important for the Celtics. And if they would have lost game 2, considering if everything else played out and they should have lost game 2, the Wizards should have won that series. The Celtics are just lucky to be in the conference finals. And they're a 1 seed. And there is no doubt that they are one of the worst 1 seeds ever. Since it was a weak Eastern Conference, I think they won 53 games? 53 games. And you're the 1 seed. I think the Jazz won 52, 53. They're the 4 seed. So, actually no, they're the 5 seed. And look, the Celtics are just not that good of a 1 seed. And of course, at home, you lose by 11. Of course, it was 20 most of the game. They came back when it was really far too late. And then you lose by 45 points. They're down by as much as 50 at one point. At home. It showed they were out of it, right? Let's fast forward to the next game. They're down by 21 in the third quarter. And clearly, you start to think, okay, this series is over. I thought, okay, it's over. Now, many people, I'm sure, shut off the TV, went to bed, woke up like, whoa! Did the Celtics actually win? How? How did they win? Well, we'll explain that right now. So, anyways, to start out the game, LeBron was passing. Kevin Love was on fire. They're on fire from the 3-point line. And LeBron James didn't need to score. And he didn't really get into a rhythm. And up by 20, he doesn't need to take over. Okay, LeBron's just along for the ride. At times, he's just this passing guy. He doesn't need to score 30, 40 points. Can settle for 20 quite easily. So, looking at what was going on, it was dominant. They got up by as much as, I think it was 16. It didn't stretch to 21. And at that point, you're thinking, okay, they're in Cleveland. You have the best player in the world. The Celtics are without Isaiah Thomas, which, by the way, got hurt in game 2. And I thought the Celtics had no shot at winning whatsoever. And what happened? Marcus Smart, who shoots about 30% from threes, has always hovered right around 30% throughout his career, scores maybe 10 points a game. He hit 7 of 10, which, him taking 10 threes, that seems an awful lot. And him hitting 7, that just does not happen very much. I mean, are you kidding me? He hits 7 3-pointers, now 7 for 10. If he wanted to even out his percentage, let's say he shot 20 more, he'd have to miss all 20. I mean, he's just, I don't know what happened. Very shocking. Unbelievable. And here's another stat. He took more shots than LeBron James. You can't let that happen. LeBron James was too passive. He took only 13 shots, hit just 4. And the Celtics did a great job of really limiting him. He was limiting to passing. Now, I was watching in the fourth quarter, thinking, come on, time to take over. Let's go. Time to take over. And what's going on? Oh, two guarded. Oh, was passing it to Kyrie Irving. Oh, and what we saw from Kyrie Irving in Game 3 of what he was doing, Kyrie Irving at times is the offensive leader. Now, he's not a leader like LeBron James, not even close, but he can take over the offense at time. He hit many times throughout the year, and I think eventually will be the leading scorer on this team. And he did that, and he played spectacular, some big shots. J.R. Smith was really critical. He had some really critical shots, and LeBron James, he did not score in the fourth quarter. I think he's 1 for 8 in the second half. So, having the best player in the world not score, completely taking away his scoring ability, does that show his value to the team? Of course it does. When your best player, by far your best player, is not scoring, you can't beat them. And it is clear this is LeBron's team. And LeBron needs to be more confident, needs to be more aggressive in scoring factor to win games 4 and 5. And I'm not worried about going back to Boston. Not worried at all considering what they did in Game 1 and certainly in Game 2. Now, Avery Bradley hit the game-winning 3, right? Very good play call by Brad Stevens, and Stevens did an outstanding job of coaching in the second half. Was just spectacular. Shows why he's a great coach. Told them at halftime, in huddles, and when they brought in the audio, he said, one at a time. You got to chip away. We're down by 21. We can't just get it back in 2 minutes or 5 minutes. We got to do it little by little. And they did. Like runs here and there, all stuff like that. And they did come back, and they took the lead. And let me tell you something about Avery Bradley. He took 23 shots. Okay? Early on in his career, he did not have the offensive confidence to do so. His offense this year, and certainly the past couple of years, and certainly in the playoffs, his offense has looked just great. He's becoming he's been a great two-way player at times this playoffs. And look, that was just great confidence. And is it possible the Celtics, down by 21, you did not have Isaiah Thomas, who is clearly their offensive leader, clearly someone who can turn a 20-point performance into a 40-point performance, say, in the fourth quarter. He's one of the leading scorers in the league, but you didn't have him. So you didn't have that guy you could just rely on. So they had to play as a team. So Al Horford got more aggressive, took 18 shots, and he missed most of them, but still more aggressive. That most of the time is not that aggressive on offense, at least trying to score. Was posting up more. And then Marcus Smart, I don't know what happened. I mean, one of the threes he hit was contested. I don't know what was happening. He was open. So when Marcus Smart is open, he'll shoot it. Okay, he's not the kind of player that's just going to not do anything on offense. But, well, most of the time he does. But look, the Celtics played more like a team, and that was the most important factor. Going back to that, and how much is the blame on LeBron? I don't blame him too much. I mean, he should have been more aggressive on offense. He should have taken more shots. That's what he's supposed to do as a team leader. But it just couldn't get into a rhythm. That was the main problem. Can never get into a rhythm. And when you're not in your rhythm, not what you're used to doing, you have to make adjustments. It's hard to do so. And look, he's not the kind of offensive player that tries to force things too often. And look, he was more of a passer type in that game. And LeBron did not play well. Not at all. Kevin Love was 7 of 10 in the first half. He took 3 threes, missed them all. I think those are the only 3 shots he took. Well, he had that putback, but he got quiet, and I think they went 1 for 17. They were in a comfort zone of shooting threes. That was their comfort zone, and they can really destroy any team with the threes. They can hit 20 any game, 20, 25. They're that good at shooting threes, but they crashed. They couldn't hit any more threes. What they're doing in the first half didn't work at all. They really had nothing going. And the Celtics just played like a team. They played confident, and they won. And games 4 and 5, I think LeBron goes back to what he did in games 1 and 2. I think the series will be over. I really think it's going to be a blowout for the rest of the way. It's not going to be close at all. That's what I see happening. Series is over. Look, you don't have your leading scorer. You don't have Isaiah Thomas as the Celtics. You don't really have any star players. More of a bunch of pretty good, solid players they have right now. Look, the Celtics have a really good future, but this year is just not their year. And were they too passive at the trade deadline? Absolutely. Absolutely they were. They could have gotten that guy to Jimmy Butler or Paul George to make them compete with the Cleveland this year. But they decide not to, which in some ways is smart. They have the number 1 overall pick coming up. They can swap with the Nets in 2018. It's hard to believe that stuff does not go on forever. It'll finally end after next year. So they're getting all the tools ready. Looks like they'll have some cap space, so it'll be interesting what they're doing. So they're kind of letting this year go, but again, they've shown improvement every year in the Stevens era. And I think next year, if they don't, it will be a year where they show even more improvement. So it's been a good season for the Celtics. It really has been. Should have lost. Big shock. And I heard the post-game press conference of what LeBron James was saying and said, you know what, this is somewhat of a good thing. We're not nervous, and I'm paraphrasing, by the way. It happens. Games like that happen. It's good it happened now, not then. And look, we'll just look at it on film and just see what happens, and that's what did happen. So, big game 4 tonight. I'm sure the Cavs yesterday in practice looked through the film, saw what happened, are making adjustments for tonight, and should be up 3-1, and fire the Cavs. And really, I'm not concerned about going back to Boston at all. It is clear that place is not served. Just home court does not matter. If you're any Eastern Conference team playing against LeBron, it just does not matter. The dominance will continue. They're going to Golden State next Thursday, June 1st, 9 p.m. We're going to have a 3-match. So, let's talk about Golden State now. So, what happened in Game 1, as we mentioned last week, the Spurs, they had a 23-point lead when Kawhi went down. And when you lose Kawhi Leonard completely, you lose a devastating offensive player, what he has now become, who could win the MVP as 1-3 odds right now. So we'll see in about a month from now. And you lose probably the best perimeter defender of his era. So there you go. You lose the lockdown defender on Kevin Durant or whoever, Steph Curry. That's out of the picture. And then you lose your best scorer by far. He's going to give you 25, 30, 35, 40 points, whenever. You're clearly your best scorer. And now you don't have either one of those. That was devastating to the Spurs, and it was clear they just were not a very good team in the conference finals. They did not have any sort of ingredients, or whatever you want to say, to beat the Warriors. And when you lose those both ends of the floor, there was no scorer who could they rely on. They didn't have that great of a defender. Now they should have won Game 1. You cannot lose a 23-point lead. They should have won Game 1. Okay. So they win Game 1. That's great. Now, they have to win the next 3, and they would have lost, and based on what we saw, they would have lost the next 3, no doubt about it. They surely would have lost Game 5 in Oracle. So they get by 1 win, and Kawhi Leonard just can't play. Even if he did play, would have been limited, and Greg Popovich has been known to do this, and he was thinking, you know what? Probably told Kawhi, you know what, Kawhi? We're down 2-0. There is always going to be next year, the year after that. Let's focus about next year. Let's not risk your career and ruin your career just to try to get back into this series. And Kawhi did not play the next 3 games. and they lost the series. And LaMarcus Aldridge, we thought, okay, he's going to step up. He's going to be that guy he is in Portland. He's going to take the most shots. He's going to score the most points. He did take the most shots, but he could not score. I think he scored something like 8 and 9 points. Aldridge just has not played that well in the playoffs this year. He's had very poor percentage. He's 6'11". His field goal percentage in the playoffs was about 46%. He struggled to score throughout the playoffs. LaMarcus Aldridge did not show up. And they had no one to rely on offense. Pau Gasol is an old shell of what he would have been in Los Angeles or Memphis in the playoffs. Manu Ginobili at times looked very good, could still play. Other times looked like he had nothing left. And last night, and probably his last game, the crowd definitely thought so. I'm sure he's thinking that. By the way, I saw a news headline today, will not decide for another 3 or 4 weeks, so we'll probably learn in the next month or so of what's going to happen. So, what occurred and what we saw happen with the Spurs, they didn't really have any offense to go to. And talk about losing Tony Parker, who's been, I'd say, one of the key veterans, has been there for 16 years now. You lose someone like him, someone with huge amounts of playoff experience. That was a bad loss. They had to go for DeJounte Murray. He's a rookie. He's very young and just inexperienced. Guys like Patty Mills, well, he can play very well on offense. He can give you 25. He did not play very well this playoffs, even when he was a starter for the last. Tony Parker went down in game 2, so that's 7 games. Started the last 7 games, and look, that was that. David Lee got hurt. They were injured. They were shorthanded. They had nowhere to go. None. They did not have anything left. They made it all the way to the conference finals. It was another good Spurs season. If they would have had Kawhi Leonard, now, they would have not blown out the Spurs every game. But I think, or the Warriors every game, but it would have been more interesting. Could they have won game 2? Maybe. I'm sure they would have taken a game in San Antonio. The series would be 2-2. I think the series would go on at least 6 games, maybe 7. And I think with Kawhi Leonard healthy, that's what we saw for approximately 26, 30 minutes. However long he played it, I believe it was sometime in the early to mid part of the third quarter he went out. I think it would have been a series. But, as we said earlier, took away devastating offense and devastating defense. That's out of the picture. So now, what do? They didn't have anything to go. Greg Popovich is a great coach. Tried to run the best plays. Tried to do the best schemes and strategies and whatever you can say. So many words to say, and just you can't beat the Warriors with a team like that. They were shorthanded, had nothing left, and that was it. And so for the Warriors, Steph Curry has had an incredible series. Oh yeah, he's played great. Was great in game 1. Was great last night. Played very well in game 3. Durant played very well this series. Thought Draymond Green did. JaVale McGee certainly gave the Warriors a lot of energy in the first quarter of game 3, and really for the first 18 minutes or so. Really everyone contributed. It was just remarkable what the Warriors did, and look, they are a team game. They will pass a lot. Sure, you think, oh, we have Steph Curry. He's going to get into a lot of isolations. He's going to take a lot of shots. Oh, Kevin Durant wants the ball. He wants to score 35 a night. No, it's not like that. Durant is happy to take less shots, and he's definitely taking less shots than he does in OKC and scoring maybe slightly less, but he's scoring so much efficiently. For example, he might score 25 points and might be, 9 for 16 from the field. Very efficient scorer. Durant's been about as efficient as any scorer in the league this year. And Klay Thompson, he has not played very well this playoffs at all. And look, he's kind of at times, he's the number 4 scorer. He's the number 4 scorer. throughout the playoffs. And just has not played that well. And look, I definitely think he can still play. I mean, he scored 60 this year. I would not count him out. If they ignore him and get so focused on Durant, Green, Curry, he could get wide open a lot and score 40 any night. I think Klay Thompson is going to play better in the finals. I really do. And so look, the Warriors are just dominant offensive the way they move the ball. And think about all their defenders. They're great at both ends of the floor. There is really no shot they can beat the Warriors. So we're not going to preview the finals yet. We're going to watch game 4 and 5 first. But I just think the Warriors right now are favorites. They're going to rest. Let's see. Last night was Monday night. They're going to rest for 10 days. So all the rest they've had, they're going to be so well rested. They've cruised through. They've won 12 in a row. Can they go 16-0? No. I think the Cavs are going to win a game or two in the finals. And with Cleveland, so we'll get back to them in a minute. So we thought they're going to be up 3-0 for sure. They are not. They're up 2-1, and now I'm a little worried about game 4. I know they'll win in 5. The question is, how close is it? Do the Celtics have that same type of team? Do they play the same way? I think they will. Lot to see what happens. So, real quick, what is the future of the Spurs? Okay, so LaMarcus Aldridge, I believe they have him locked in for another 2 or 3 years. Kawhi Leonard has 3 years left on his contract. I don't know who the starting point guard is going to be. I don't think Tony Parker will start much longer. He might only play a couple more years. He'll probably move to the bench. Ginobili, I don't think he'll be back. I think he's going to retire. Greg Popovich, look, great coach. They're going to sign the right players. They're going to draft the right players. I think they'll be a factor for a long time to come, and this is clearly Kawhi's team now. They're going to build this team around Kawhi Leonard like they did around Tim Duncan for so many years. And when Tim Duncan started to decline, they became a team game, a complete team game. Getting Kawhi Leonard, which if you think about the time, just another added piece. If they didn't do that, who knows in what direction they'd be headed in right now. That was great to extend their dominance. And look, they're going to be very good for a good while longer. They always have a plan. Great front office, great coaching. Just been in the organization for the past 20 years, and I'm confident the Spurs will be back. Of course, for the next 2 or 3 years, will be Cavs, Warriors every single year. We'll see about that. So, finals will start next Thursday on the 1st of June. Cavs still have games 4 and 5 to play. I believe on Thursday night in TD Garden, they will be holding the Eastern Conference Trophy, and we'll have a week of rest before the 3 match begins. So, thank you for listening, and we'll see you on there next time.